Hey there, BookTube. How you doing out there? Welcome back to the channel. This is the History Shelf. I am your host, Peg. Today, we have a big stack of new books, new University Press titles. Many of these I am super stoked to add to my reading list, and I thought you might be as well. So, hence the video. But let's get right into it, so I'm not making another 40-50 minute video. I think maybe one or two of these we've seen on the channel before in advanced reader copy galley form, but I've got finished copies. These are all hardcover books, so you hardcover lovers are going to love this video. Let's start with one that we've seen, and you guys can't see what's coming next. I want to hide it. I believe I showed you a galley of this back in the day, but I wanted to just show you the final copy of a University of Chicago Press title. We've got Freeman's Challenge, The Murder That Shook America's Original Prison for Profit by Robin Bernstein. I'm fairly certain I've shown this now that I'm thinking about it. There's been several books that have had a similar type of title. Well, now I'm thinking about it, I think Freedom's Challenge might have been one. But anyway, let's hop into this. In the early 19th century, as slavery gradually ended in the North, a village in New York State invented a new form of unfreedom, the profit-driven prison. Uniting incarceration and capitalism, the village of Auburn built a prison that enclosed industrial factories. There, slaves of the state were leased to private companies. The prisoners earned no wages, yet they manufactured furniture, animal harnesses, carpets, and combs, which consumers bought throughout the North. Then one young man challenged the system. In Freeman's Challenge, Robin Bernstein tells the story of an Afro-Native teenager named William Freeman, who was convicted of a horse theft he insisted he did not commit and sentenced to 5 years of hard labor in Auburn's prison. Incensed at being forced to work without pay, Freeman demanded wages. His challenge triggered violence, first against him, then by him. Freeman committed a quadruple murder that terrified and bewildered white America. And white America struck back, with after effects that reverberate into our lives today in the persistent myth of inherent black criminality. Freeman's unforgettable story reveals how the North invented prison for profit half a century before the 13th Amendment outlawed slavery, quote, except as a punishment for crime, end quote, and how Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, and other African Americans invented strategies of resilience and resistance in a city dominated by a citadel of unfreedom. Through one black man, his family, and his city, Bernstein tells an explosive, moving story about the entangled origins of prison for profit and anti-black racism. So this is out right now from University of Chicago Press. Actually, I'm really intrigued by this story. Oh, holy crap. Look at some of these illustrations in here. This is horrible. Yeah, I have never heard of this actually. So this is something new for me to discover. And I think I know who I want to pass this along to when I'm done reading it. So anyway, we've got Freeman's Challenge from University of Chicago Press. Next book up. Ooh, moving into Mormons now. Mormon history. Let's see, what is the fastest way to read this? We're going to hold it up. This is from Yale University Press. This is this out right now? Yes, this came out last month. This is Joseph Smith, The Rise and Fall of an American Prophet by John G. Turner. Pretty, not too big of a read. Definitely doable. Obviously, so let's get into it. Joseph Smith Jr. was one of the most successful and controversial religious leaders of the 19th century America, publishing the Book of Mormon and starting what would become the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He built temples, founded a city-state in Illinois, ran for president, and married more than 30 women. The self-made prophet thrilled his followers with his grand vision of peace and unity, but his increasingly grandiose plans tested and sometimes shattered their faith. In this vivid biography, John G. Turner presents Smith as a consummate religious entrepreneur and innovator. a man both flawed and compelling. He sold books, land, and merchandise, and he relentlessly advanced doctrines that tapped into anxieties about the nature and meaning of salvation, the validity of miracles, the timing of Christ's second coming, and the persistence of human relationships for eternity. His teachings prompted people to gather into communities, evoking fierce opposition from those who saw those communities as theocratic threats to republicanism. With insights from newly accessible diaries, church records, and transcripts of sermons, Turner illuminates Smith's stunning trajectory from his beginnings as an uneducated, impoverished farmhand to his ultimate fall at the hands of a murderous mob, revealing how he forged a religious tradition that has resonated with millions of people in the United States and beyond. So, another new biography, I think, is it Fawn Brodie that wrote the just the iconic biography? Is it No Man Knows My Name? I think that's the title of it. But now we have a new take on it based on newly accessible documentation. So I'm eager to tap into this one. So this one's out right now from Yale University Press. Oh, and here's one. Here's one that I'm going to be personal note, personal/professional note. I'm going to be making more videos, and I'm going to be doing more giveaways because I am getting a lot of duplicates, as they, as that's the full word for dupes, but getting a lot of duplicates in the mail, and I thought, let's do some giveaways. This one I have 2 extra copies of, and in fact, I think with this one, that Johns Hopkins University Press sent me extra copies for a giveaway. But this, I just wanted to make this programming note, that you're going to see more giveaways on this channel. But I do have 2 extra copies of this title. This is a very fascinating, very keyhole history in the Civil War time, and I'd never heard of this before. So it's out by Johns Hopkins University Press. The book is called The Strange and Tragic Wounds of George Cole's America. And the subtitle is A Tale of Manhood, Sex, and Ambition in the Civil War Era by Michael Degrusio. All right. So I've got 2 extra copies of this. So I'm going to try to figure out, I think I might make another video where I include these, and just so that everyone can put throw their hats in the ring for a drawing. So wait for that video before you wanna reply. Okay. Let's see here. When he returned home to upstate New York after the war, what's his name? George Cole discovered that his wife had been seduced or had been raped by their family attorney. At first glance, Cole's story is straightforward. He murders their attorney, is tried twice, and is acquitted. But in Degrusio's telling, the murder, like a flash of lightning, illuminates a vast landscape in striking detail. By mining court transcripts, newspapers, private letters and wills, memoirs, and military records, Degrusio pieces together a noir tale of American life in the 19th century, one given to desperate self-improvement. This meticulously researched microhistory, so that's like keyhole microhistory, of a pained veteran explores how increasing rights for women, the end of slavery, expanding access to market goods, burgeoning towns and cities, the madness of war, and the congealing corruption in government and business brought a new birth of fraught freedom. This is fascinating. It is a gripping tale of ambition, self-making, and tragedy set against the backdrop of the American Civil War and its aftermath. Let me say this. George Cole was once hopeful Union soldier whose dreams of heroism and societal recognition unraveled in the chaos of war and personal betrayal at home. Haunted by the war's brutalities, Cole struggled to reclaim his dignity in a post-war nation that, in his mind, had forsaken the most deserving. So this this is different. This is very different from my usual Civil War readings. So, yeah, I am excited to learn more about this story, this case. But stay tuned for my giveaway video because, again, I've got 2 hardcover copies of this bad boy. They sent me 3. So I was like, that's very kind of you. We're going to be doing a giveaway. So, The Strange and Tragic Wounds of George Cole's America. Stay tuned for that giveaway video. All right. Next up, Notre Dame University Press. This is one I requested because, again, I Civil War history, I love just going into different aspects of it, and this one has the aspect of religion during the Civil War. This is a brand new book, brand new release from Notre Dame University Press, and it is Faith of the Fathers, The Comprehensive History of Catholic Chaplains in the Civil War by Robert J. Miller, with a foreword by the august James M. McPherson. All right. Faith of the Fathers brings to light the forgotten stories of courageous chaplains whose commitments to faith and to men at war during America's most divisive conflict have long been overlooked. The Reverend Robert J. Miller provides a comprehensive and compelling portrait of the 126 Catholic priest chaplains who served during the Civil War and reflects on the importance of religion and faith in 19th century America. As a culture of death and horror raged around them, priest chaplains met the needs of soldiers and officers alike, providing years of faithful and dedicated service in hospitals, prisons, battlefields, and camps. Whether ministering to Union or Confederate soldiers, or both, in Eastern or Western theaters, in battle or camp, these priests risked their lives to bring faith and hope to one of the darkest and most devastating periods of American history. So I said yes to that. The Reverend Robert J. Miller, he's a retired Catholic priest and scholar. He was a former president of the Chicago Civil War Roundtable. How cool. He's written about 6 other books kind of related to religion during the Civil War, including Both Prayed to the Same God, Religion and Faith in the American Civil War. So we've got a foreword by James McPherson and a slew of great, fantastic photographs throughout. Yes, love it. So, check this out. If you are into Civil War, U.S. history, Christianity studies, this sounds like it's going to be a good one. I wanted to put it on your radar. Faith of the Fathers from Notre Dame University Press. Okay, now I'm gonna move over here to this big baddie. Stanford University Press, thank you for this review copy. I am very excited to dig into this, but I wanted to let you guys know about it first. This is going to be a big read. Minus endnotes, bibliography, and all that, we are looking at about a 550-page book, but substantially the notes go on for pages, just dozens of pages. So we know this is a very well-researched book. This is The Party's Interests Come First, The Life of Xi Zhongxun, Father of Xi Jinping, by Joseph Terigian. The Party's Interests Come First. Look at this big bad read here. Woo! So this is about the father of Xi Jinping. You can always learn more about people through knowing about the families that they came from, and it sounds like Xi Zhongxun was a very interesting person here. So, China's leader Xi Jinping is one of the most powerful individuals in the world and one of the least understood. Much can be learned, however, about both Xi Jinping and the nature of the party he leads from the memory and legacy of his father, the revolutionary Xi Zhongxun, who lived from 1913 to 2002. The elder Xi served the Chinese Communist Party for more than 7 decades. He worked at the right hand of prominent leaders Zhou Enlai and Hu Yaobang. He helped build the communist base area that saved Mao Zedong in 1935, and he initiated the special economic zones that launched China into the reform era after Mao's death. He led the party's United Front efforts toward Tibetans, Uyghurs, and Taiwanese. And though in 1989 he initially sought to avoid violence, he ultimately supported the party's crackdown on the Tiananmen protesters. This book is the first biography of Xi Zhongxun written in English. This biography is at once a sweeping story of the Chinese Revolution, which is a topic I have been very interested in for a long time. As you know, I study a lot about communism, communist regimes, cut my teeth on just the Soviet Union, but then my interest in that just branched out to all the other countries that it touched. And the Chinese Revolution, Mao Zedong, this is all really, really relevant history. It's important to know these things, and it's just a topic I find fascinating. So I was really eager to get my hands on this book. Yes, so the biography is at once a sweeping story of the Chinese Revolution and the first several decades of the People's Republic of China, and a deeply personal story about making sense of one's own identity within a larger political context. Drawing on an array of new documents, interviews, diaries, and periodicals, Joseph Turigian vividly tells the life story of Xi Zhongxun, a man who spent his entire life struggling to balance his own feelings with the party's demands. Through the eyes of Xi Jinping's father, Turigian reveals the extraordinary organizational, ideological, and coercive power of the Chinese Communist Party and the terrible cost and human suffering that comes with it. So, this is out now. And if this is a topic of interest to you, you got to get it. You got to read about Xi's father. And I cannot wait to get my grips into this, my teeth into this, man. I am ready to go. This one's like at the top of my stack. Wanted you guys to know about it. And while we're talking about big books, I have been wanting to get this one too. Thank you, Princeton. Princeton University Press comes through with this. It's going to take me a year to read it. This is a book for the March of the Mammoths in March. It is 1,140 pages. 1,140 pages. Okay, something like that. No, it's even more than that. But that includes the index and let's see. So let's not cheat. Let's go to the readable. That's scannable material. Let's see. Okay. It's still 938 pages, and that would be a March of the Mammoth book. It's a new history of the Renaissance, baby. Look, I got to hold it with two hands. It's so big. The World at First Light, A New History of the Renaissance by Bernd Roque, translated by Patrick Baker. And this is put out. Look at the beautiful cover. Beautiful cover. Look at this. You ready for the wide angle? Whoa. This is like a dictionary. Nope. Dogs are going to start barking. Martine's home. Princeton University Press. Look at this. The World at First Light. Oh my gosh. Are we ready for this? The cultural epoch we know as the Renaissance emerged at a certain time and in a certain place. Why then and not earlier? Why there and not elsewhere? In this book, historian Bernd Roque explores the cultural and historical preconditions that enabled the European Renaissance. Roque shows that the rediscovery of ancient knowledge, including the science of the medieval Arab world, played a critical role in shaping the beginnings of Western modernity. He explains that the Renaissance emerged in a part of Europe where competing states and cities formed relatively open societies. Most of the era's creative minds, from Da Vinci and Michelangelo to Copernicus and Galileo, came from the middle classes. The art of arguing flowered the basso continuo to intellectual and cultural breakthroughs. Roque argues that two revolutions shaped the Renaissance, a media revolution triggered by Gutenberg's invention of movable type, which itself was a driving force behind the scientific revolution and the advent of modern science. He also reports on the dark side of the era, hatred of Jews, witch panic, religious wars, and the atrocities of colonialism. In a series of meditative counterfactuals, Roque considers other cultural rebirths throughout the first millennium, from the Islamic Empire to the Carolingians, examining why the epic developments of the Renaissance took place in the West and not elsewhere. The complicated legacy of the Renaissance, he shows, encompasses the art of critical thinking as learned from the ancients, the emergence of the modern state, and the genesis of democracy. So a series of counterfactuals. Oh, this looks great. This looks fantastic, guys. So we've got The World at First Light, A New History of the Renaissance by Bernd Roque. This is going to be a 6-month to a year reading project for me. The World at First Light. But I just wanted you guys to see this one. If you're a big fan of this time frame, of this topic, you need to know about this one as well. All right, what do we got? Oh, I've got another fantastic history. It's a very, very readable. It's from Yale University Press. Has it come out yet? Pretty sure it has. And I love another area of history I've been reading up on a lot in the last 2 years, and I've read and reviewed some history books about Haiti and the history of its black leaders. We've got a new one. It's called I Have Avenged America. Jean-Jacques Dessalines and Haiti's Fight for Freedom by Julia Gaffield. Yeah. And I just like the colors on this too. I think it's a really awesome cover. I read the First and Last King of Haiti recently, and I loved it. Read Black Spartacus, and that was the a new biography about Toussaint Louverture. I greatly enjoyed that, and I wrote reviews for both of those. So I was like, when I heard that there was a new biography on Jean-Jacques Dessalines, I was just like, I have got to read this. A moving and humane portrait of the abolitionist revolutionary Jean-Jacques Dessalines, who led Haiti's fight for independence from French colonial rule. Quote, "My name has become a horror to all those who want slavery," end quote, declared Jean-Jacques Dessalines as he announced the independence of Haiti, the most radical nation-state during the Age of Revolution and the first country ever to permanently outlaw slavery. Enslaved for the first 30 years of his life, Dessalines joined the revolution that abolished slavery within the French colony. Then he became a general in the colonial army of the new French Republic. When it was discovered that France once again supported slavery, Dessalines declared war on his former allies. Fighting under the slogan, "Liberty or Death," his army forced the French to evacuate in late 1803. At the start of the new year, Dessalines declared independence from France and became the leader of a free Haiti. A hero to Haitians for centuries, Dessalines is portrayed abroad as barbarous and violent. Yet this caricature derives not from facts, as Julia Gaffield demonstrates with extensive new research, but from the fears of contemporary enslavers. Showcasing the man behind the myths, Gaffield reveals Dessalines' deep suffering, warm friendships, and unwavering commitment to destroying slavery, racism, and colonialism, and his bold insistence on his people's right to liberty and equality. So I'm excited for this. It's definitely a shorter read, which is great. I think it doesn't have to be overly long, about 250 pages of readable chapters here. So we've got I Have Avenged America, brand new biography about Haiti's revolutionary fighters and leaders, and I am here for it. Yale University Press. All right. Oh, yes, let's get to this one. Oh, this is the wrong one. Okay, well, that's going to be saved for another day. I just want to give another shout out again. I know I've talked about this book before. I'm quite interested in this story. I've watched documentaries about it, and I think I'm going to try to put some feelers out to see if I can get the author on for an interview. And I'd like to reread it. This is from the University of Iowa Press, and I can't say enough about this book. This is High Desert Blood, the 1980 New Mexico Prison Riot and the Tragedy of the Williams Brothers, by Andrew Brennenstuhl. This is my finished copy, and that's another book that I've got extra copies for, and one of them is I've already reserved for a friend's daughter who works in criminal, I think just incarceration, right? Penitentiary system. Anyway, this book is both elegantly written, and I wrote a review of this, which I think it's coming out soon, I hope, in Shelf Awareness. Or did it already? Shoot, I gotta go check with my editor. So I won't go into too much. I don't want to, cannibalize my written review, but beautifully written. And the topic is just so chilling and heartbreaking at turns. And then he wraps in this personal story of two brothers that goes even beyond the actual prison riot itself. And it just stuck with me. And again, the research was fantastic. And this is like probably your most up-to-date book about the New Mexico prison riot of 1980. I think the most recent one that most people are familiar with is the Devil's Butcher Shop. I think that's up here. I'm trying to remember where I have that book, but anyway, this is the most recent study on it, and I highly recommend it. Let me read to the back of this book to you. When a cocksure father, sorry, I just thought the dogs made a noise. When a cocksure father hatches a simple insurance fraud scheme, he has no idea its failure will lead his family into the maelstrom of America's most violent prison riot. High Desert Blood takes you inside the walls of the penitentiary of New Mexico, offering a gripping true crime journey through the heart of a system that failed its inmates, its staff, and the society it was meant to protect. Through meticulous research and compelling storytelling, and the storytelling is very compelling, and again, beautifully written, Andrew Brennenstuhl unveils the conditions that led to the infamous 1980 riot, a catastrophic event that left a permanent scar on the American penal landscape. This book offers an unflinching look at the brutality and corruption that plagued the prison, shedding light on the systemic issues that made such a disaster inevitable. So, this book is available now from University of Iowa Press, High Desert Blood. Just a knockout story, and not easy to read. And there's some graphic details of the violence in the riot, and it will shock you. It will shock you. So then we got that. Okay, a couple more books here. I might be done in 30 minutes. Probably not. Another new release from University of Chicago Press. This one I'm very, very excited about. Woo! This is Karl Marx in America by Andrew Hartman. Look at that cover. Very nice. All right. This is the vital and untold story of Karl Marx's stamp on American life. One moment. I just need to shut the door. And we're back. To read Karl Marx, sorry, I don't have the pub sheet for this, so I've got to read from the jacket. To read Karl Marx is to contemplate a world created by capitalism. People have long viewed the U.S. as the quintessential anti-Marxist nation, But Marx's ideas have inspired a wide range of people to formulate a more precise sense of the stakes of the American project. Historians have highlighted the imprint made on the United States by Enlightenment thinkers such as Adam Smith, John Locke, and Thomas Paine, but Marx is rarely considered alongside these figures. Yet his ideas are the most relevant today because of capitalism's centrality to American life. In Karl Marx in America, historian Andrew Hartman argues that even though Karl Marx never visited America, the country has been infused, shaped, and transformed by him. Since the beginning of the Civil War, Marx has been a specter in the American machine. During the Gilded Age, socialists read Marx as an antidote to the unchecked power of corporations. In the Great Depression, communists turned to Marx in hopes of transcending the destructive capitalist economy. The young activists of the 1960s were inspired by Marx as they gathered to protest an overseas war. Marx's influence is evident today, too, as Americans have become increasingly attuned to the issues of inequality, labor, and power. After decades of being pushed to the far left corner of intellectual thought, Marx's ideologies have crossed over into the mainstream and are more alive than ever. Working class consciousness is on the rise, and as Max, I'll call him Max, Karl Marx. And as Marx argued, the future of a capitalist society rests in the hands of the people who work at the point of production. There's probably going to be lots that I disagree with in this book, but I love it. I love to engage with these things, even things that I don't agree with. And then I'm open to having my mind being changed. You know what I'm saying? If your argument is sound. A valuable resource for anyone interested in Marx's influence on American political discourse, Karl Marx in America is a thought-provoking account of the past, present, and future of his philosophies in American society. So this is a brand new title from the University of Chicago Press that I just had to get. I'm so excited to tap into this one as well. What are we looking at lengthwise? It's about a 500-page read. 500-page read. All right. Let me just take a sip here. Private moment here. I find that I stumble over words when I'm overwhelmed. I got some good rest last night, but I'm so much on my plate right now that I think my mind is just like zoom, 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 zoom. You know, I'm just, whoa. Dial it down, Peg. Slow down and read slower. Apologies for the flubs. Yeah, sorry for flubbing some of my lines here, but it happens. It's real life. I work hard for a living, is what I'm saying. All right, final book. Now this one's different, and this is a novel, but I had a publicist reach out to me on this title, and I said, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is not something I don't read. First of all, I don't read science fiction, but there seems to be something here of import in the realm of just the history of how this was written, why it was written, that I'm kind of in tune with. And so when I was just honest, and I said, look, if you want to send me a new copy or a review copy, please do. I will share it on the channel, and I'll see if it's something that if I can get into, you know. Anyway, from Columbia University Press, this is New Story of the Stone, an early Chinese science fiction novel by Wu Jinren. And I hope I got close to the proper pronouncement. It's translated by Liz Evans Weber, but New Story of the Stone, an early Chinese fiction novel. So let me read the back here. One of China's first works of science fiction, New Story of the Stone, is a belated 20th century sequel to the beloved 18th century masterpiece. See, there's a history here. Okay. A sequel to the beloved 18th century masterpiece Story of the Stone, more famously known as, I think I have heard of this, Dream of the Red Chamber, Now that rings bells. It follows protagonist Ji Baoyu. Baoyu. Ji Baoyu. Borrowed from the original. It's messing with my pronunciation. It follows protagonist Ji Baoyu, borrowed from the original story, as he is dramatically hurled forward over 100 years from his own time into a bewildering future. First, the decadent, semi-colonized late Qing China? Okay. Or is it King? Okay. Everyone out there who knows these things, and most times I know. Remind me how to pronounce the Q again in Chinese. Is it a hard K, a K, or is it Ch? Anyway, semi-colonized late Qing China of the author's own time, and later an astonishing high-tech Confucian utopia called the realm of civilization. That probably didn't really tell you much, and it didn't for me either. But the novel's over 500 pages. But there is a very helpful introduction to the text. Yeah, which would, it's about 15 or 20 page intro to kind of give you a gist of the difference, or where a story of the stone left off and who these people are. But anyway, I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna see if I can get into it. A new story of the stone. Maybe that means I need to go read the first one though. But listen, either way, I'm gonna start reading it, and we'll see where it takes me. And if I'm liking it, then I'm gonna back up and pick up Story of the Stone or Dream of the Red Chamber. So anyway, if you know about this, I know Lawrence Westwood, my friend, out there across the pond. He's probably got some input on New Story of the Stone. But there you have it. Here's a stack of my most recent new titles from university presses. And I've got a stack of university press books, but they're from one university, so I'm going to film those separately. That would be the University of Nebraska Press. I am on their media list, so I typically get the books that are of interest to me, that I fill out in a checklist, and I've got quite a few that are going to be really, probably very tantalizing for you guys out there, and I know I can't wait to get going on those. Just need more hours in the day, guys. Just need more hours in the day. But anyway, let me know what you liked here, what jumped out at you. I hope you're doing well out there in the reading worlds. And yeah, come back. I've got tons more videos. I've got giveaways. I've got a lot of things happening here at the History Shelf. So until next time, everybody, hope you're doing well and take care out there. Bye.